People keep asking me when I'm gonna start the podcast, and I haven't really had an answer. But yeah, I'm thinking I'm starting the podcast. Welcome to Natural Tears, baby. Whoa! Whoa!
That's what happens in the movie is Bowery King gets thrown off the fucking roof the second he says, "Can somebody please?" And then he gets thrown off the roof and goes, "Whoa!" as he falls down.
Somebody please get this man a podcast.
John Wick Bowery King podcast would be really good, I think it would be a lot of quality Bowery King content, and then John would have an extremely like frigid take, like such an ice cold take that it doesn't make any waves, and then you just get roasted for the rest of the session.
I think Bowery King would say he'd say you know, John, a lion's mane depicts only a man's worth, and then John goes, yeah, and like nothing else.
I want to get a John Wick-esque host for a podcast where really the guest is doing all the heavy work, and then the host is just going like, yeah, like one word responses, really nonsensical, like milquetoast, nothing of value.
How much we up to now, Earl? 7 million subscribers. Damn! It's Christmas. We're going to Applebee's after this.
We're going to VidCon after this.
We're going to MagFest after this.
Oh, I hope we can look back on this when we get a VidCon panel and we use it to we use it to stream a can rip of Infinity War. That's all we do. If we ever get a panel, I just want to bring like one of my DVDs of my movies and bring my little CRT TV, my little 13-inch one, and just put it down and be like, all right, this is the panel. We're going to watch Who Framed Roger Rabbit.
It's only a 60-minute panel, so you have to put it at like 1.75 times speed. Just to fit it in the allotted time.
Fast forward through like the exposition dumps. Like, it's okay, I'll recap you guys later. We just need to get to the next scene.
No, there won't be a Q&A. This is it.
I hope that we get big enough to do a Q&A so that I can sit behind the scenes and bitch to you about how badly I don't want to do a Q&A. Cause I feel like that would stress me the hell out,
The worst part about Q&A is, because I've gone to a lot of conventions, is just the one guy who asked the question that nobody wanted asked and nobody wanted answered, and it makes everyone uncomfortable. There's always one that's tailored for a specific, depends on what you go to. And it's a lot of the times it's something that they could just look up, or like it's common sense, or I don't know, review the media, etc. Yeah.
The common sense issue is the one that I run into the most when I go to like Comic-Con down here. I have a funny story about it. I was standing in line to meet the creator of Deadpool, Rob Liefeld, who, now that I'm older, I know that I probably wouldn't really want to take time out of my day to meet him, but I was younger and I was like, oh cool, it's a comic book creator, and like, he's really
Ryan
popping
Reynolds.
off right now.
Oh my god.
No, Ryan Reynolds is way too good for Arizona Comic-Con. Are you kidding me? So we were standing in line, and the guy, maybe he was like 2 or 3 spots ahead of me, but he was within earshot because we were all crammed together to try and, it's like a line of like 800 people wanting to meet this guy, get stuff signed. And he was like, how do you feel about your comic studio not really doing as good as Marvel is, who you ended up leaving back in the 90s? Like, so because what happened was Rob Liefeld like left Marvel, and went to go do his own thing. And this guy basically just walked up and was like, how do you feel about your old bosses still doing better than you even after you left? And
is it weird feeling inferior every day?
And like the worst part is Rob Liefeld had his kid there with him, and like his kid was like a young kid sitting at the table. And so like I remember my dad was like staring at this conversation happening because my dad heard this and he was like, oh shit, and he wanted to listen. So I was just looking where my dad was looking, and Liefeld signed his thing and was like, have a nice day, and just sent him, just didn't even, that's all he said.
Yeah.
And I was like, you know what, like Rob Liefeld is pretty infamous for having an opinion on people who he does not agree with, or people who don't agree with him vocally. Like he's not afraid to speak with that. But I was very surprised even as a kid before I knew that he was kind of difficult. I was very surprised that he handled that so well. I was like, wow, what a professional. But yeah,
The one
no,
that always sticks out in my head. I was not there for this, but many people, maybe some in the audience might remember this. Back during peak Brony years, um, when the voice actor for Princess Celestia was at like BronyCon 2014 or something, and somebody goes
okay.
up and asks her, do you know what molestia is? And B, do you like it? And like,
Oh boy.
if you don't know what molestia is, it was just like this dumb gooner headcanon that like Princess Celestia was literally a rapist or a coomer or that kind of thing. So it was a
Yeah.
very non-kid friendly ask that she had to
Yeah.
just like I don't really know what that is,
Yeah. Yeah.
in a room full of 30-year-old guys. It was
We
rough.
should it going back into the near future of 2025 when we have Q&A scheduled every single day. We should have hit squads like by the back doors, and when someone asks a question we don't like, we just basically we just click like in the movie. Well, I was about to say in the movie Blank, and then I realized that you just don't watch those. But
Well played, yeah.
yeah, got him. Oh, got him. Anyways, but yeah, we should just have a hit squad that can eradicate anyone who asks us a question we don't want to hear, or maybe even like a trap
Wait.
door.
I got it. We have members of the Continental. We declare them
Yeah.
excommunicado if they ask a bad question. They step outside and they all get shot at the same time by like 5 different guys.
Hell yeah.
There you go.
We should give out natural tears coin.
Ooh.
And if you go to a Holiday Inn Express or a Chipotle and you show your natural tears coin, that's
Welcome to the Holiday Inn Express. How may I be of service? And you slide your golden natural tears pirate coin across the counter. One of your
What are they-
finest rooms.
It's called isn't it called like a rally coin or what is it?
It's a Continental coin.
Well, no, I mean I'm not talking
Oh.
about John Wick. I mean like there are real coins that are like given out, to like if you're part of a group. I think one of my relatives might have one. No.
Okay, well then I don't really know what you're getting at.
Maybe somebody. This will be like in the first episode where I kept saying natural wash, and you were like, "What the fuck are you talking about?" But I don't know. It's like they're like coins that are given out to groups of people, normally like clubs or people who have like done something together, like an experience. I'm not really sure. It should go without saying that I obviously don't have one of those. The coolest coins I have are the coins that you use in the Pokemon trading card game to call heads or tails. And like they have like pictures of Darkrai or Blastoise on them. I got a couple of those. I used to have a Mankey one when I was a kid, and some kid scammed it off of me at the
Ooh.
playground. I was pissed. I was so mad. But yeah, so no more Mankey coin. Or do I have it? I don't know. Actually, I remember that it was taken from me on my kindergarten sands, and I was about ready to put blood on those sands.
Oh,
Which is a pretty good
that's
segue into.
that's a segue.
I think that's a good segue. I wasn't planning to do that. That was not scripted, like every part of this podcast, because we're amateurs. But
dun, 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 dun. Go, shorty! It's your birthday. I had the displeasure of going to Arizona, and while I was there, Hayden held me hostage and forced drugs into my throat, and we played through all of 50 Cent Blood on the Sand, the iconic and highly sought after video game made by
THQ.
What's his name? Curtis Jackson.
God damn it! You still don't remember? Throughout the entire time we
Jamie
were
Lee
playing, he was like,
Curtis.
"What the fuck is 50 Cent's name?" I was like, "Curtis James Jackson, dude."
Curtis James Jackson and Tony Yayo and Lloyd Banks.
He's got a presidential name, and DJ Wu Kid, who also has a presidential name. If we had a President Wu Kid, I'd probably I'd probably try and get in the Secret Service to protect him.
We could both apply.
Send in a joint resume.
Yeah,
We should do it.
I
We
agree.
work best when we're working together. So, I think the president of our nation would be good to know that Alex and Hayden are on the case. We'll stand there in front of the podium, and when we see the red dot, we'll throw each other in front of it.
We'll
Not
both
ourselves,
take out our gats and just start firing into the crowd to ensure President Wu Kid's safety.
Oh, 50 Cent Blood on the Sand was a real treasure of a time, but before we could even play it, what did we have to do?
So I was gonna try and get it at a game store near me in Washington before I went to Arizona, but I forgot Lamau. But we knew that if they had one in Arizona, that we would pay top dollar. We'd drive many a miles and pay top dollar for it. So we
Yeah.
had to call around because we weren't going to go out on foot and waste all that time and gas, So we
No.
used the power of information services to ask every single game store in the greater Phoenix area if they had a copy of 50 Cent Blood on the Sand for either PS3 or Xbox, although you didn't have an Xbox, but I still wanted to know. So
Yeah.
we had to run through the ringer with all these guys, and I was giving them the LPC runaround while also trying to fish for the information. And I swear to God, none of these fucking places ever had it.
Yeah, it was crazy. And then the one guy we called, who you were fucking with him like a good amount, his name was Jay. And Alex kept insisting that he have the suffix of the gamer. So we call a place, right? Someone picks up the phone that's not Jay. They say, "Hey, what can I do for you?" Alex says, "I need 50 Cent Blood on the Sand, like I need air to breathe. So I need you to hurry up, please." And they said, "All right, well, I'll get you in touch with the games department." And Alex said, "Oh, you'll put me through to the gamer?" And the guy said, "Yeah, I'll send you to the games department."
Yeah, I don't know.
And
That guy
so-
was like the movie guy or something. So he had to get in contact with the gamer. He had to get the line to him.
They're like Green Lanterns, They each one of them has a different little talent, and they can't cross over. They need to stick with their one thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, so they sent Alex through to the guy, and he said, "Hey, this is Jay. What can I do for you?" And Alex immediately goes, "Jay the gamer?" And he goes, "Yeah, this is Jay."
You're the
and
gamer?
Then Alex starts asking him for Blood on the Sand, and he says, "It doesn't look like any of our stores have it." And like we called a couple of these places, like this franchise of stores. He was like, "It doesn't look like any of our stores have it, but I'll go walk the floor real quick to check." And so he put down the phone, and he walked the floor, and he like came back and picked up the phone, and he said, "So we have 50 Cent bulletproof, but it doesn't have a case." And then I told Alex to ask him like if the disc was in good condition, and he said yes, and we ended up not going for it because what we really wanted was Blood on the Sand.
Yeah.
We even had a guy who he said, "Well, I don't have it, but I know some people who might," and we were like, "Huh?"
This guy was a mover. He was making things happen in the Phoenix area. He was like Mike Ehrmantraut, or like a guy that Mike calls like the veterinarian in Better Call Saul. Like he knows people. He's got connections across the West Coast, the southern West Coast.
His name was Ram, which I already thought was crazy. Right, so Ram goes, "Yeah, I might know some people who have it," and I was intrigued, right, because I've been in the retro gaming scene for a long time, and I've never moved from my home state of Arizona, so I know most of these guys and most of these places to get stuff. I don't know them personally, but I know who to go to. And so when he was like, "Yeah, I might know some people," I immediately was like, "Huh?" And it turns out he called people in California, in Colorado, in Nevada, and to see if he could get it like sent to his store and then resell it back to me. And he even gave me the extreme courtesy of calling me back at like 9 o'clock the following day. And he called me back unexpectedly. I was standing in the living room talking with Alex, and I was like, "Oh shit, it's that games guy." And I picked up, and he was like, "Yeah, I'm sorry, none of my connections know where to find 50 Cent Blood on the Sand." And I was like, "All right, cool, bye." And we just hung up, and I just looked at Alex, and I was like, "All right, we're just gonna pirate it."
Yeah, like we even gave him notice, like, "Hey, if you gotta import this, we need like nuclear express. We need this airmail like ASAP because this shit cannot wait." I was only in town
Yeah.
for so many days.
Yeah.
But and in the like succession of all these calls, I called my local game stores, even though I was in Phoenix, just to out of curiosity.
Yeah.
Which shout out Pink Gorilla, they're always there for you. Always, don't trust them with any of your belongings though, because they're always getting robbed. But I
Yeah.
called them, and they have several locations across Seattle, and one of them was like, yeah, looks like our system says that the one in the I district has it. And I was like, oh really? Can you confirm that? And they're like, no, but you can call him. And I was like, okay.
Yeah.
So I called that guy, and I was like, hey, and this one I think I gave like the worst time to. I think I was like the hardest or meanest / most of a troll to. But
Yeah.
he said, I was told that they had 50 Cent. He's like, haha, nah, we don't got it, man. I was like, oh, really? You don't
Yeah.
have it? It says
You
you
were-
have it.
You were pitting them against each other because the one guy at the capital city, he said, yeah, the I district has it. And you called the I district, and that guy was like, no, I don't. And you were like, yeah, well, your coworker said otherwise. and the guy threw shade back at the capital city district. He was like, yeah, they do that a lot to us. I don't know why. And I was like, oh, shit.
Yeah, he like
Alex is
implicated them, said they don't have their shit together.
You're destroying Pink Gorilla from the inside. You're sowing seeds of a civil war.
Good riddance. Al's games for life, baby.
Shout out to Al's Games. Alex showed me pictures of Al's Games, and I was like,
Games
yeah,
is
I'd go
awesome.
there.
In the University District, they got connections with Mega 64, so they have a bunch of their exclusive merch and shit. Apparently,
Yeah.
the owner of Al's Games was on the Christmas cast this year.
Oh, that's crazy.
Yeah,
Huh.
I don't remember his name.
Maybe we should try and get Al's Games on the podcast, and we'll tell them, like, yeah, we know Rocco. He was on the show.
Yeah, and then that could be our end, because Rocco would know the Al's Games guy, and then we could really get in with Mega 64.
And then we could
It
come
all
back to
works
Rocco
out.
and we could say, hey, you recorded something for our show, but more importantly, you know Al's Games?
I got it in with Al's Games. They were on my podcast.
Yeah. We should. If we ever do an interview, we should just interview like a guy who owns a store. Like, who said this is an entertainment podcast? I mean, we're not focusing solely on entertainment, and God knows we're not entertaining. So why would we get anyone from the entertainment industry on our podcast? We should get a baggage clerk.
I'm so excited for the Natural Tears PAX episode, because I don't know if you're up for this. I'm totally up for this. I want to go and interview random people. Like the
I also wanna
Super
interview
Mega
people.
E3 video, just going up to people
Yeah.
and be like, yo, what'd you think of that game, right? It was sick, right?
Yeah.
Or
Yeah.
like people who work, like, because obviously they're not gonna have like Shigeru Miyamoto on the floor talking about the new Mario, but you could interview like a random Nintendo employee and pretend that they're on the development team, and they'll just be like,
Does
I don't
Nintendo-
really know.
Do they even send out like actual employees for those events, or do they just go on Fiverr and find a guy who has availability for 3 days, and they're like, "Okay, wear this shirt, go down. You're gonna talk about fucking Yoshi's sloshy world. He gets wasted at the pub and he has to drive home.
Put Yoshi's Sloshy World on screen right now.
Fuck, I have to make that.
What do you mean? You just have to find the promo art.
You're right. I'm sorry. I just had to find the promo art from PAX 2012.
Yoshi's Cummy World.
Stop.
Don't put that on screen.
want-
Don't put that on screen.
I don't want to make Yoshi's sloshy world and make Yoshi's cummy world.
Yoshi's Crappy World. That one's real.
I'll tell you what I'll tell you which one is real though. The 50 Cent remake. We're gonna make it happen.
Yeah, we're gonna get in touch with
'cause-
THQ. We're gonna
Yeah.
get in touch with 50 Cent, with Jamie Lee Curtis, and we're gonna make it happen.
Because Alex and I were talking about this. Like Eminem's in Fortnite, Dr. Dre is in GTA, Snoop Dogg's in Call of Duty, right? And here's 50 Cent. He has his own 2 video games, and they both sold well, right? Like we were playing through Blood in the Sand, thinking to ourselves, this game's really not that good. Like it's really not. It's super simple. It's almost like an arcade game. the way that you're just jumping to locations and you get like a high score at the end of every level. Like it feels like it was made by somebody who hasn't made games since like 1985, but they were given all the modern tools to work with, and they were like, yeah, okay, we'll just make like a high score shooter, like an arcade shooter.
It feels like one level connected by loading screens, and that's not a good thing. It's supposed to be like a multi-part act.
And then all of a sudden you're in a fucking Apache helicopter with Tony Yayo, and you can turn the minigun on his head and fucking unload it, and he doesn't flinch. You can barrel Tony Yayo with a minigun for 1 minute straight, and he doesn't even move. It's lovely.
It's sad we don't have any footage exactly, and I don't want you to open the game to record any, of course. But I wish we could put Tony Yayo getting destroyed with bullets while he stands there unflinching, while the frame rate drops from all the blood particles.
Yeah, on my PS3, it was dropping the frames on my PS3.
He pirated it to real hardware, by the way. I'd just like to add.
Yeah,
he put that on his modded PS3 with a DualShock, and we played it on native hardware. So it was real business.
Yeah. It honestly could be said that, like, because I'm a fan of emulation, right? But I try not to endorse it, only because I think people sometimes get the wrong idea about it. Like, people who emulate Switch games, I don't really fuck with that, because it's like those games are so easy to buy, and unless you're trying to mod them, then it's like I don't really see the point in it, unless you're just trying to just do things illegally to do them illegally. But like when I was growing up, there was no way for me to get NES games unless they were re-released, and those weren't the ones I wanted to play.
They were on the Wii shop.
Well, yeah, but not like Silver Surfer,
Maybe
that's
not.
an NES game I wanted to play, and it didn't really, go anywhere. But that's the kind of stuff I'm talking about. Like, I like obscure games. I like prototypes. You'll find a lot of prototypes when you're emulating, like games that just never got released, So it's really not hurting anybody. But anyways, all that aside, I like emulation a lot, but we did everything in our power to do things by the book. Like, we really did everything we could have possibly done to acquire a copy of Blood in the Sand. And even on Amazon, they were hitting triple digits, and I wasn't going to get them until when we recorded this podcast, which is weeks after Alex has already been gone.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
It's not like THQ Nordic is getting any of that fucking money.
Yeah,
anyway, it would just go to some guy who has been hoarding games since 2009 and puts them on a 90% markup.
I
kind of have beef with I kind of have beef with used game stores, but I can get into it later.
I get you. I was just going to make a joke saying that the funniest thing about talking about THQ Nordic not getting money is that they're never getting any money.
You remember when they did an AMA on 8chan? Did you see that?
No, I didn't. That's crazy though. That's a string of words that I think would be, like press poison to anybody in the games industry.
THQ Nordic does an official AMA on 8chan. Was a crazy time. I don't like the fucking like social media guys must have been like walking out of the building when they scheduled that, because there's no shot they wanted to keep their job with that kind of shit. If I remember correctly, it happened, but it was like pretty short notice, so the media hadn't caught on yet. So the AMA happened on 8chan, and then people were like, why did they do this on 8chan? 8chan is where you find like zoophilia porn. This is weird.
Yeah,
and they had to issue a statement bizarre. Like, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to.
That's their boss. The social media guy's boss had to sit down at their computers the next day and type that up on their computer.
Tears in his eyes. I'm sorry, I didn't mean it.
Oh, man. Oh, but yeah, Blood on the Sand was just one of the many great things that we did. It was a really, really good time. I don't know how much we can really spend talking about it, because we always talk about games like so much during the podcast. But all that can be said about 50 Cent Blood on the Sand is that there's definitely a reason why there's not a third 50 Cent game.
Yeah. Like, and the lore for 50 Cent Blood on the Sand is that it was a scrapped military shooter for like a a book adaptation that kind of got canceled. So
Yeah, it was a book series that was getting turned into a TV show. So they wanted to do a video game to go along with the TV show, and the TV show got canceled. Even though I looked it up, and there's still a TV show for it, so it must have been a different iteration or something. Or maybe maybe the guys from the TV show looked at the 50 Cent Blood on the Sand prototype before it was 50 Cent, and they said, the show's actually canceled, so we can't release this. Actually, I'm sorry. It's out of my hands. Like, I don't know what to tell you. I'm sorry. And then THQ picked up their big red rotary telephone, and that only calls one residence, and it called the Jackson residence. 50 Cent picked it up. He had to sift through the absolute pool of women in his bed. Mm-hmm. He had to swim through it like an Olympian just to get the phone. And they said, "Fitty, we need to put you in the video game." And he
Fitty,
said,
remember Bulletproof?
We need a sequel to Bulletproof that has nothing to do with Bulletproof and also has the worst video game ending ever.
We're gonna put Tony in it. You remember Tony? Unit.
Tony was in the bed of women. 50 Cent just didn't know it at the time. But 50 Cent didn't know that Tony Yayo, Lloyd Banks, and DJ Wu Kid were in the pile of 80 women on 50 Cent's Alaskan King bed. Do you want to, before we move off of 50 Cent, because I feel like there's a lot more we want to talk about because we had such a great time here in the Valley together, but do you want to talk really quickly about how Blood in the Sand ends? Because I don't endorse anyone to go and play that game after listening to this podcast, so I just want them to hear your rendition of the ending so they can close their eyes and picture it.
All right, here's the full plot summary. I'm going to try to do this in less than 2 minutes.
I'll put you on 1.5 speed if you go over.
That's a really good idea. All right. Listen up. All right. 50 Cent. He just gets out of his show. He's got Tony. We pick Tony Yayo. You can pick your other guy between Lloyd Banks and DJ Wuka and Tony Yayo. So 50 and Tony, they walk off stage. It's a huge show. They get finished playing in the club 40 times over. All right. They walk off stage and immediately it's a big, beautiful concert hall and they walk off and it's like immediately in a dingy, like shitty cement brick Middle Eastern house. And 50 goes up to a Middle Eastern guy and he says, "Hey, where's my money? Where's my money, bitch? You said I'd get it. I do the show and you pay me 10 mil or something like that." And then the guy, I think his name was Anwar, he says, I don't have your money, Fiddy, I'm sorry. And but he says, "But wait, you can have this. It's a crystal skull." And Fiddy goes, "Man, that shit looks nice. All right." And then, I don't know, some shit happens. He loses the skull, obviously. And the entire game is spent trying to get this one skull that's apparently worth like $13.5 million or something. Yeah. And there's like a sexy woman who's just there kind of as an object, but then she makes out with 50 and then betrays him. And you kill as many, like the entire game is set in this like ambiguous Middle Eastern place. And they tell you like, the streets are run by criminals. These are all criminals, part of a major cartel. But like you look at like literally any of the guys and like their military vehicles and their artillery, and it's very obvious that you're just fighting like a Middle Eastern army. Yeah. Like as 50 Cent, mind you, 50 Cent, okay, my gun go off.
Yeah, PIMP in the club, wanksta. Yeah.
And so you kill a bunch of people. There's a lot of like, "Oh my God, Fiddy, I'm gonna help you out, and then I'm gonna betray you." But it finally leads you fight the same helicopter at least 4 times. It's the same boss fight with the same helicopter, the same rocket launcher. And Tony goes, "Man, Fiddy, there's rockets over there. You gotta get them." And so you pick up the rocket launcher and shoot it 3 times, 4 times over in the entire game. And the entire like you kill like the main guy with the rocket launcher because of course he's in a helicopter. And then like the final girl that is very objectified takes the skull and you go into a car chase, which is at this point the final mission of the game is a car chase. That's the second car chase in the entire game. And we were playing single player, right? The whole game it's kind of like meant for co-op, online co-op only. The other person one plays as Fiddy, the other one plays as Tony or whatever. But because we were playing single player, we were driving and we couldn't do any of the shooting, so you just kind of bring Tony Yayo over nearby the vehicles you're trying to destroy as his 50 cal machine gun goes do 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 really
because
slowly.
He's a bot. He's not shooting. He's not full autoing it. He's just tap firing it.
And then this car nonchalantly just explodes after you destroy like an entire village, and then it just immediately cuts into a cutscene where this truck flips over. You don't see anyone get out or anything, and then that cuts, and it's 50, it's Tony Yayo, and it's DJ Wu Kid in a Humvee, and they have the golden crystal skull, and they put a big ass cigar in it, and they're like, "All right, time to roll," and they drive away into the sunset. Credits roll.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, this entire time you're listening to the same 50 Cent songs over and over because the game has an in-game music player that'll just play 50 Cent songs no matter what you're doing.
Yeah, unless you're Alex and Hayden, because I had the controller for the final boss fight, and Alex and I were both very, very high.
Oh, the Zaza was loud. Okay, it was.
Yeah. A lot of the trip was spent. It was Alex, myself, and Mary Jane, and the 3 of us had a really good time. Yeah. So I was very high, and I was like, all right, I want to lock in for this last bit. So I thought we were at the final boss when we were in the big tower shooting the helicopter with the rockets. And so I turned off all of the sound effects and I increased the volume of the music and decreased the volume of the speech, but like still so you could hear it. And so we were basically just watching like a 50 Cent music video with the occasional like and the boss regurgitates the same 4 lines. So he's like for some reason he's like some like Texas oil tycoon type voice, you know?
Yeah,
he's
the
like,
final boss
you
is
ain't
like,
gonna get me 50 Cent. Like that's what he sounds like.
you know how the world works, Fitty.
and they're in the middle of the Middle East. He's the only white guy to show up in the entire game.
Yeah.
And he's balding and he's wearing a Hawaiian shirt, but for some reason he rules this town in the Middle East. He's like the king of them. It's fucking crazy.
It's like Hayden, you probably will know what I'm talking about. It's like that one motherfucker in Hitman Absolution. Put him on screen.
Yeah.
I hate that game. Put him on screen. Put him on screen twice, and then take them both off screen. Thank you.
He goes, whoa, whoa, and he dances around the little hitman, the little dead hitman. Yeah,
I remember that. Yeah,
he's like fucking Yosemite Sam. He gets so excited. Oh my god. But yeah, anyways.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, 50 Cent Blood on the Sand is fucking ridiculous, and you don't have to play it, dear listener. You just don't have to. Not that you could even find a copy. If anyone sends us a copy of 50 Cent Blood on the Sand,
ever,
we might do a playthrough of it for our next topic, which is what's our next topic, Alec? I know you know what the next topic is. I know you know what it is. I know you know.
We're starting a Ko-fi account. I have commissions. Here's a sample of my commission. It's on screen. It's $30 for one and $200 for two. Hope you like.
You can also commission us to do a podcast for you.
We'll do a podcast in your honor.
Yeah. For your memorial.
Yeah. We do funeral services, the whole 9 yards.
Basically, you pay us $50, we'll do a podcast talking about your life, and then we're going to send it to the manager of your estate, and they're going to play it at your funeral during the cocktail hour.
Mm-hmm. The full 1 hour and 20 minutes.
Yeah.
For only 50 cents.
Our next topic is what, Alex?
I believe it's about the Patreon, the tier 3 subscriber option.
Exactly, yeah.
I'm still on the fence about it, but I think I'm willing to give it a shot because we've had many loyal listeners just begging for a way to give us money. And I say, you know what? I took a look at my checking account. It says $3 total. And I say, all right, you know what? It is what it is. I just do what the people want.
Yeah.
And so we're looking into options. We're looking into ideas. And we want input because obviously we want to give out. We don't want to have a Patreon that's just a tip jar. At least I don't want to. You can just Venmo me, though, if you want to give me $3. But we want to have options for content, aka a reason to subscribe to this Patreon. So we've been kind of fishing around ideas. We're thinking maybe something to do with movies. We could watch a movie, talk about it, or like a watch along. We were thinking maybe an after show or exclusive. Maybe we'll do a podcast and we'll both be nude and only Patreon subscribers get access to it, or maybe dating advice. Nobody's asked us any questions yet, but we'll answer your questions on there too.
Yeah.
We'll read your names.
Alex and I are both in very fulfilling relationships. So if you go to sleep alone every night, you should give us $5 a month so we can tell you how to not be such a fucking loser. You
fucking
big
pussy,
fucking loser. But yeah, the Patreon is something I'm very excited about because a majority of the most loyal tier 3 subs are in my day-to-day life. So imagine you are a content creator and people who like your stuff come up to you and get in your face and say, how come you don't have a Patreon yet?
This is
and you have to sit there and figure out how to get out of that situation alive. And I've been there about 4 times. So
I had the displeasure of meeting many of our tier 3 subs in person recently. and
Yep.
they not only did they pog. Here's a picture of the soy jack that they looked like, but they also asked about this Patreon thing. So I thought it was nice. It was humbling. It was cool.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
mean, I know
Lots
these
of
people outside of the podcast, but
yeah.
it was
Yeah.
strictly a business relationship. I was there on business only.
Yeah. And that's what business is all about. Doing 8 shots in 15 minutes. That's what business is all about.
Oh, fuck you! You drink so much that thing. You
I never thought the day would come where I'd put down my shot glass and someone would look at me and say, "No, you're all done.
You were like, man, we should maybe leave soon. Mary Jane, she's at home, and I'm like, okay, that's maybe we could look into that. And then you started putting down more shots, and I'm like, okay, I see where this is.
Did you wait? Hold on. Earlier, when I said Mary Jane, when I said it was just you, me, and Mary Jane on the vacation, did you think I was talking about my fiance?
In hindsight, now I realize you weren't, but I thought you were name dropping your fiance without name dropping your fiance.
No, I was talking about the copious amounts of cannabis we
Yeah,
imbibed.
I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. That's a funny thought.
Yeah.
No, my fiance did have a lovely time having us in town. She told me that it was really enjoyable, like coming home and seeing us, like because she was working. I had some time off, and so we were hanging out a lot together, and she'd come home and say hi to us. But she was like, "I'm really glad that and this is now." She said, "I'm really glad that now when I come home, it's just you there." Like she has no beef with Alex. It's just like.
And there was also Alex, the people in your house before me as well. There was many a
weary traveler.
Yeah, going in and out of that abode.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, it was a good time. I think the biggest thing is just like Alex and I have known each other for longer than we have each known our significant others.
Yeah.
So like we tend to kind of we get into the room and we spread out. I mean, we really bro out. We kind of. I think like I kind of even noticed that at the function that we went to. That like we took over the function a little bit because there was a lot of people that wanted to come see you, and there was we have a good dynamic together. We're fun to be around, I think.
And it wasn't dedicated to us. It wasn't our function, but
no, it was not our function. It was like a quarter of my function, because what happened is we went to a birthday party for someone that I share an actual birthday with. So Alex came into town for my birthday, and then got to stay in town for this joint, like not joint birthday party, like it was my friend's birthday.
It was
party.
Mostly your friend's birthday, but it was like also like, yeah, well, your birthday also happened, so
Yeah, no, I mean, yeah, I don't want to make it sound like any of it was put on for me, but she was so sweet. She was texting me on Snapchat pretty frequently, like, "Hey, do you have anything that you want there?" And I was so busy getting everyone in my house taken care of, people that were Alex and people that came before Alex. I could barely answer her. Yeah. And then when I showed up, I drank so much of her booze. I legitimately do not think that there's a person who drank more than me in that house that night. I think I outdid him. I think I outdid them all. I really do.
You probably were the biggest drinker there.
Yeah, some good stuff. It was yummy.
There was people holding back, socially. And then I don't really drink a whole lot. I never really drink without a reason. Yeah, so I still got slosh for sure, and it was always fun putting shots back with I don't really remember what I called him previously, but you know who, our DoorDash driver.
Yeah, our DoorDash driver.
Yeah.
Yeah. And he gets so excited when you're in town. Oh, man.
It was a really pleasant time. That was definitely a highlight / core memory for me. Was that whole function. Yep.
Got a lot of in and out. And lots of in and out. Alex got a picture of me with in and out falling out of my mouth as he took the picture.
Mm-hmm.
It is one of the worst pictures anyone's ever taken of me.
I love I was really happy when I posted it, the picture of you and your fiance at the In-N-Out, and then the picture immediately you swipe right and it's the picture of you and your cousin at In-N-Out. Yeah. And the one with you and your cousin is the one where shit's falling out of your mouth. Like mid-air perfectly.
It's a giant fucking thing of lettuce, and you can see I'm like a turtle. I'm like snapping my face forward to try and catch it, and it's obviously not working. Oh
uh,
man, it was embarrassing.
bro,
Yeah.
I low-key got in and outed out. Like,
Oh really?
I just like whenever I'm in a state that has an in and out, I'm always like, yeah, I should probably get some in and out while I'm here. But like
Yeah.
the I think I had it 3 times when I was at your house.
Yeah. You had a
Once with
midnight
you,
walk, and then
yeah,
yeah.
once with you and your wife, and once with by myself, and once with your cousin. And by the third one, I was like, all right, it's good, but like I'm good.
Yeah.
I'm like I'm ready to
Yeah.
put that away. Which
Ah,
is weird. It's kind of like a character moment.
I know, yeah, it's that's very very bizarre because I feel like I mean all things considered, I mean Alex and I have talked about Costco and Winco on the show. We've talked about Payday 3. Like these are things that we like. You want to talk about something that Alex and I love, like Alex and I almost live for. I would say we love In and Out, like
Yeah.
love it. You know?
Everyone like literally I think all of my extended family knows me as like whenever I come into their town when I'm with my extended family, they're like, "Hey, you hungry? You want to eat? Do you want to go to In and Out?" I was like, "I mean, yeah, I want to go to In and Out."
And
It's
your
kind of
ears
like
perk up and you say, "Huh."
yeah,
In and Out, yeah.
for better or for worse, it's become like a part of my it's a part of my association. It's part of my
Yeah.
character. And
My
I'm
Animal
coming to
Crossing
terms with it.
my Animal Crossing character has an In and Out hat that he wears, and
Yeah.
it's based off my real life In and Out hat that I got from an ex-employee. I love it.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, In and Out rocks. I'm so
It was
grateful to have been born in a state with In and Out.
yeah. I don't think you realize how good you have it. Because
Yeah, no,
Seattle has a place called Dick's. Go ahead and put Dick's on screen. Put Dick's on screen.
watch. I'm gonna send this edit overseas, and they're not gonna know what you mean. They're gonna really do it.
Yeah. You're going to pay a guy in Fiverr to edit this one because you don't want to do it.
we, we should table that for the future. For like our 10th episode, we should outsource the editing.
Outsource it. Get somebody to mix the audio for us and then get someone to edit it out. Like, just edit it.
Maybe we should just outsource the whole podcast. We should get two
Get
guys on
someone else
Fiverr to
get someone
replace
to write it,
us.
someone to voice it. Use the TikTok text to speech.
we we really should have two guys that don't know each other like call themselves Alex and Hayden, and we'll just be like, yeah, name your price, just riff for an hour and make sure you record it and sign this saying you're okay with us publishing it, and then yeah,
It's
that's
so
genius. Yeah. So free, except for the fact that it would probably cost like upwards of $100. Oh man. What else should we talk about from the trip?
Oh! I just wanted to add that In and Out is it started as like a nostalgia thing because I lived in California for 13 years, and my dad
Yeah.
would take me to the local In and Out, and it's like a thing. But then it was just like, hey, I get the nostalgia pleasure from coming here now that I don't live here anymore. But it's also just like really good and really affordable, so it just works.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's an easy dinner option.
Yeah. It's like a Costco meal. It costs you nothing except for the trip.
Exactly. Now I'm on that Costco grind. That's where it's led me as a person.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm still using those laundry pods from when you took us to Costco. Alex, could you please state to the jury what your Costco membership status is, please?
Your Honor, you'll see. You can read right here. Could you pull up Exhibit C? Yep, right there. Executive member. Okay. All right, that's top tier. All right, I don't fucking play.
So Alex polished his laurels and he had me pack the red carpet into the car.
I had him pack a lip.
So with a packed lip and a packed red carpet, I drove him and my fiance to the Costco, and I rolled the red carpet ahead of his feet as they dropped to the Arizona sandy floor. And he walked into the Costco. Everyone applauded, and he gave us the blessing of allowing us to get a chicken bake and a hot dog. and a pizza. I got
Normally,
everything from the food court.
normally executive members get valet parking, but Hayden didn't know, so we just parked normally.
Yeah, I also didn't have the thing to hang around my rear, or not my rear window, but like my mirror. I didn't have the thing to hang there.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
but yeah, that was a good time. I'm still using those laundry pods. I'm still
I
going through that cat food that we got for a very affordable price.
I mentioned it to your sister as well, and she was like, "Oh, I need to. How long are you in town? I may need to go to Costco and use your membership." Like, okay, okay.
Yeah, sitting at my birthday dinner, and my sister says, "I might need to have you take me." And I was, I was just thinking to myself, like, man, what a fun experience that would be for Alex. You know,
I
he
know.
doesn't know anybody in my family, and
This birthday dinner I already wasn't having like a great time at, and then I was almost prompted to go to Costco with your sister, who I don't know at all, and who's also like, what, isn't she like 26 or something at least?
That's yeah. I think you might be giving her a couple years under, which I think she would appreciate if she ever heard this. So let's say that she's 26. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. But man, we should talk about the birthday dinner because it wasn't. Let me make this very very clear, and I'm not just saying this to save face or anything. I had a lovely birthday dinner. Right. I was surrounded by people who, ideally, I would have dinner with more than just for my birthday. You know, people that I really love and appreciate having in my life, and it was a really really nice time. But my fiance was tired as shit because as soon as Alex got into town, she started working again. Her time off from previously had ended, and so she started working when Alex was in town. And then I was trying to take care of the household and make sure Alex was all set up. I think that was the day I picked you up in my car. That was the day before my birthday, right?
I believe so.
Yeah. So then I'm tired from having driven down, and then Alex and I stayed up the night that he was in town, and then Alex is a little uncomfortable because he doesn't really know anybody, and on top of that, the BJ's Brew House that we're sitting at is fucking chock
Home of the Pizookie.
Home of the Pizookie. A Pizookie which I got and brought home and had like a day later, and it was delicious. I had it while we were watching John Wick 1, which we will get into before the podcast ends.
Yeah.
Or maybe next podcast because we're running out of time, and I got a lot to say about John Wick. But the worst part about the birthday dinner is that the BJ's Brew House was full of people who were maybe 5 years out from their permanent residency in a graveyard. That place was a fucking old folks home. It was crazy.
I mean, I think it bothered you more than me. Maybe I'm more used to the busy restaurants, but it's already Arizona, so everyone's already at least like 40, pushing 50. Yeah. And then we had the even older folks that were ready to die. So, and they were all clamoring for a Pizookie.
I think it bothered me because my last birthday dinner, we had it at a nicer and smaller restaurant in a more busy part of town, and there was nothing going on. But we go to the BJ's Brew House in one of like the weirdest parts of town. Like, it's not a bad part of town, it's just not a part of town that is really busy, So we go to the BJ's Brew House, and it's like a Wednesday or something, right? Like a Wednesday night.
Yeah, it's an irregular.
Packed.
Yeah, it is Wednesday.
Yeah. Yeah, it was insanely busy in there, and we were sitting at such a long table that each side of the table, like from the longest ends, they could not hear each other. So I sat in the middle, and I was juggling like 3 different conversations for the entire night because some people just legitimately could not communicate with each other. But ultimately, everyone wanted to talk to me because it was my birthday, which I thought was very sweet, and I appreciated that. But yeah, it was a bit of a cluster. And then we went over to my fiance's parents' house so that we could smoke weed.
Oh, yeah.
It was a super enjoyable time, but it was a little scary for Alex.
His fiance has a very large family that many of the members are in the private server that we share. So that was also... Not only was we there to do some Zaza and smoke on the contraption, but I also met some of the people that I've been talking to online, which is always cool. And that was a very pleasant time, I think.
Yeah, it was enjoyable. Alex, how high would you say you got? Would you say that was like one of the highest moments you had in your life?
Yeah, I'd say top 5. I'm never greened out where I got like I don't think I've ever gotten too high, but that was definitely up there.
Yeah, yeah, yep.
And it
Alex,
was a good high too. I felt it a lot in my sinuses.
yeah, yeah. And we were sitting. I mean, what I will say about Arizona in March, right, is that it was pretty nice at night. It was Alex came in during a part of the time of the year where it was pretty breezy, even rainy some days. So we were sitting out there at night, and it was a nice time. We got the fire going, and got all my fiance's family, my fiance's huge family, sitting around this fire with us
In
two white
circumference,
boys.
not in numbers.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, that's
I'm just kidding.
that's
I'm
gonna
just
be
kidding.
great. I'm gonna go
Just
over
kidding.
gonna go over to the in-laws' house, and they're gonna be like, "Hey, so caught us
I
fat
listened to
on
that
the
podcast you do. Hey, what was with that fucking guy?
Oh man,
No, I
My-
love all
my
the
in-laws,
beeps.
Yeah.
I just said their last name.
Yeah,
like
no,
them.
they're such lovely people. They took me grocery shopping yesterday. My fiance wasn't even at the house; she was working, and I was taking care of my brother's dog after a nice little hour-long walk in my brother's neck of the woods. And I got a call from my. I mean, I'm not legally married yet, but basically, I got a call from my mother-in-law. And she said, "Hey, can your father-in-law and I take you to the grocery store?" And I said, "Yeah, sure, that's fine with me." So, they stopped by, hung out with the cats, talked a little bit about some nerdy stuff because my father-in-law and I are big nerds. And I'm a big fan of him for sharing so many hobbies with me. And then we went to the grocery store, and I got some meatballs, and I got some steamed vegetables, some vanilla strawberry prebiotic soda. You ever had a prebiotic soda?
Yeah, I have some Trader Joe's ones in my fridge right now.
Really? Are they a frequent thing for you?
No, I have a
Yeah. It was.
rhubarb probiotic soda and a mandarin
Ooh.
probiotic soda, and I
Ooh.
don't really like how bitter they are. So they've been in there for a minute.
The rhubarb one sounds really good though. Ooh.
It's a very complex flavor.
It is, yeah, yeah. You don't see it around that often. It's a family flavor for me because where my parents come from, they had rhubarb all the time.
El
They
Paso,
came from
Texas.
no, they came from Rhubarbia, fucking asshole.
Oh,
But
sorry.
it's okay, I mean, it's just you feel like you can use
Stop
this
talking.
platform to make fun of immigrants whenever you want, So
Yeah. Okay, move on.
okay. Most awkward silence in the podcast. Natural tears over because Alex makes fun of rhubarbians.
Cancel.
Oh man.
It's just in the rhubarbian community. It's forgiven, Alex. Alex Natural.
The American Rhubarbian Embassy has issued an official apology or official forgiveness.
Official forgiveness.
It's on certificate paper, and it's been embossed, and it's been notarized.
Ooh.
And it just says, "We're so sorry, Alex, kissy kissy."
It's got the baby eyes emoji.
The pleading eyes, yeah.
Yeah.
The pleading eyes that I love to spam. I love to use those all the time. It's just so fucking funny. Oh
Yeah.
man, yeah. So trip was wonderful, but what else we got?
Good. I think I had something else to mention. I'll probably pick it up later. Do you want to talk about John Wick right now?
I don't know.
We're recording at this time. It'll be shorter later, maybe, but it'll be shorter. It's 56 minutes. I think we have another 10 to 20 left in us.
Yeah, but I don't know if I can keep my Wick comments in for 10 to 20 minutes.
You haven't even finished 4, so actually, let's not.
Yeah, it's
Because
true.
then
Yeah,
by
as of
the
recording, I
next
haven't
episode,
finished.
I will just get you on 4.
Yeah. But as of this recording, we did watch 1, 2, 3, and then 3/4 of John Wick 4. But we couldn't finish it because we went to that party where I got fucking blitzed, and we were gonna watch as much as we could in the Uber back to my apartment, and our Uber driver Willie picked us up.
I
And
can't believe you remember his name.
Dude, of course I remember his name. He was so nice, and he had like West Coast classics on the radio. I was bopping. I was bopping. I love being in an Uber on that specific part of the freeway that we had to get on because it's not my first time being there. Like being in an Uber on that part of the freeway because one, that part of the freeway is super popular, and two, I don't drink and drive, so I have gotten Ubered at least once. But yeah, Beth and I did a oh, I said the word. My fiance and I did a date night. We did a date night and got driven home by a guy who was just like chatting us up the whole way home, and we were like leading up to Easter or something that time of the year last year. Uh, and then
Last year.
also this time, this time also we got out of the car
Oh.
and Willie said, "Hey, Happy Easter to you boys," and we said, "Happy Easter to you too, sir."
Oh yeah, it was
That was
legally
awesome.
Easter at that point.
Yeah, yeah. And so we didn't watch John Wick because we were blitzed, and then we could have had time to watch it that night before we went to bed, but we were both only able to get basically like 4.5 hours of sleep until I had to drive him to the airport like at like 4 in the morning.
It was a killer
And
flight, yeah.
yeah, and the rain. Oh my God! If Alex wasn't there, I would have been like Mr. Magoo driving because the
Hayden
rain was
almost
getting
killed
so
us.
bad. Yeah, the rain was getting so bad I
Arizonians
couldn't
don't
see
understand
the.
rain and they don't understand
No.
wipers,
Okay.
bro.
All
It
right.
was
All
so
right.
bad.
Hold on.
He's
First
gotten
off,
the wiper
hold,
game was so weak. You
hold
come up to
on.
watching it with that kind of shit, you'll get shot in the street, okay? Wipers like that, we don't play. All right?
Okay. Listen. In Arizona, it rains really, really hard every once in a while, and then it stops for like the rest of the year. And so, because of that, your wipers get super, super wet, and then the next day it's like 101 degrees, and it dries them the fuck out. And it keeps happening. It's like 100 degrees plus, like every single day. It just keeps happening and happening. So my wipers are a little dried out. So I was a little hesitant to use them because until they get back in the swing of things, it kind of just smears water everywhere and makes it worse. And I really don't want to hear you use the whole Arizona's can't drive in the water because I love driving in the rain. I seek out driving in the rain. But if I put you behind my driver's wheel, I guarantee that you would not be able to see the lines on the street like how I couldn't see the lines on the street because it was dark and it was raining hard.
I'm just saying, you put me behind the wheel, you're gonna have the nicest ride of your life. Okay, I'm a good
Okay.
driver. All
All
right, I
right.
would clear it. You put me in a statistical. You look at objectively our driving potential, like the smoothness of my stops, the turns that
Yeah.
I'm making, never hard. I'm just saying, I would clear you easy.
I'm gonna put a tattoo on my forearm, and I'm going to
Okay.
remember for the PAX episode, you saying that, and I'm
Hmm.
gonna look at that tattoo on my forearm while you're chauffeuring me to PAX and all that, and I'm gonna have to remember that I'm a better driver than you when I get up
The
there.
only stipulation is that my Honda Civic suspension is a little worn, so it's gonna be a little bumpier than it might be in a full suspension SUV. Okay, that's the only stipulation.
Yeah, sure, buddy. Yeah, okay. It's only
Like
worn
you're,
because of how many rhubarbians you've run over in the state of Washington.
at least I don't have the least popular Jeep. Okay, fuck you.
Okay, all right. Okay. He makes
But
fun of my driving. He makes fun of my family heritage with the Rhubarbians. He makes fun of my Jeep. This
put a
is
picture of
ridiculous.
Hayden's novelty plate on screen. Thank you. Go ahead and
I,
like say that he's speeding or something. I don't know.
I had to fight like hell to get that novelty plate made because they kept telling me that it wasn't street legal, and I was like, "What do you mean?" And they were like, "Well, we arrest people for saying that stuff. Um, so why do you think we'd let you put it on a plate?" Eventually, I convinced them that it was because of my Rhubarbian background, that it was a word in our native tongue. And they said, "Well, do you have any proof?" And I said, "I don't know. Do you want to try tearing down immigrants in America in the year 2024? I'd like to see you try." And they turned right around and they said, "Okay, sir, I'm sorry," and they approved it, put a big stamp on it. So,
Mhm.
you
The
know,
whole proceeding was live on Live PD too. It's aired.
we, we
You
should
can
really
find Hayden up on there.
we should really quickly talk about so when we weren't doing anything and we were just sitting in my apartment, what were we doing?
I love this. I'm gonna remember this for a while, especially when I'm playing this game. And maybe we can talk about more about this game later. But
Yeah,
uh, Hayden's got two TVs that are the same size, and they're both parallel in his
they're the
in
same
his
make and model.
yeah, the exact same TVs besides serial number in his living room. So what he would do, and this is what he has been doing, and he just kept doing it when I was there, is that he puts Balatro from his Steam Deck on one screen, and then he puts Live PD from Peacock on the other. You want to explain what Live PD is exactly? Because it's not quite cops.
Yeah. So Live PD is A&E's show, but what happened is that A&E was given the chance to renew Live PD, and right at that time, the large scale Black Lives Matter protests were happening, and also and that was as a result of what happened to George Floyd when he was brutally killed by police officers. So it was a really, really bad time to renew a show that followed cops around live. So A&E said no, and then this little cable company called Reels, this little cable channel called Reels, went to the Live PD guys and said, "We'll give you anything you want, but you simply need to put Live PD on our show. We'll give you 2.5 hours for every episode. We'll give you primetime airtime on Friday and Saturday. We'll give you anything you want. We'll give you your own set. We want to become the Live PD channel." So that's what they did, and then I don't know how, but I guess they are affiliated with NBC, so they ended up on Peacock or something like that. So we were watching On Patrol Live, which follows police officers in different counties and states in America, just going around, quote-unquote, doing their jobs.
It was mostly Florida and California, right?
Yeah, Florida, yeah, at the point in the
Vegas.
show that I'm at, yeah, Florida, California, and not Vegas, but like specifically like Pahrump, basically. It's it like the desert of Nevada, where all the stupid shit is always happening on a daily basis. That's
the place out where Trevor from GTA 5 lives.
Yeah, it's basically Shady Sands from Fallout. That's really all it is. It's just a bunch of little houses.
Basically Sandy Shores from GTA 5. That's the name. I forgot.
Nice. But yeah, no, that was a really good time, and I think honestly, if you want, Alex, you can send me that picture you took of us doing that, and I'll put it on the podcast. I don't care.
You want to dox your living room?
I don't mind doxing my living room. If somebody that I don't know who listens to the podcast can find where I live based on my living room,
they deserve the info at that point. Like, they've earned it.
I don't want to say they've earned it, because then it sounds like I'm encouraging people to do it. I don't live by myself.
Natural Tears Challenge. Find Hayden's address.
It's like GeoGuessr.
Yeah.
That's what we'll do for the tier 3 subs, is we'll give them a hint on where I live every month, and the first person to find me and execute me
gets to go to Applebee's with you.
With my severed head.
It's a one-on-one date at Applebee's.
I'm really having to toe the line on this, because I really don't even want to like jokingly encourage people to find where I live. But for the people who listen to this show and coincidentally know where I live, just be prepared to be brought in for questioning when I'm killed in a home invasion. Because I'm gonna have Alex point the cops to this episode, and they're gonna interrogate every single one of you guys, and they're gonna put it on Patrol Live.
Yep. They're gonna interrogate you in front of like your local like pawn shop, and you're gonna be interviewed live up on there.
Yeah, that's the best part of the show is the cops. The cops have the right to go into homes, like because they're public officers. And even then, there are probably times where they shouldn't enter people's homes, and they know they shouldn't because they're on camera. But the camera people are like private contractors; they're not police officers. So when a cop goes into like a Walmart, they can't film it. So the fucking guy with the camera just stands out there and just waits for him to come back out.
Yeah, and the cop has to be like, in there we basically there was a guy and we stopped him, but yeah, bye.
Yeah,
and then they cut. And the horrible host says, "Well, that was Officer Jenkins in L.A. County. Let's go to Officer Pahrump in Pahrump County."
Yeah. If you listen to this podcast and you think sometimes like, oh, their vibes are a little off, like, oh, they're not quite hitting it. Watch I challenge you to watch any episode of On Patrol Live and see if they have 1 minute where they can keep better charisma and conversation than we do on this show. Because I swear to God, it's like every single person in studio for On Patrol Live is disillusioned with the fact that they're on TV. They could not care less about the people around them and what they're doing and the platform that they have. Like they're
It's
like call
insane
center
that
workers.
it's insane that it's still going at all. But I love it for that.
Yeah,
I
they
love it
got
for them.
renewed for like over 100 more episodes, and they shoot the show every Friday and Saturday, every Friday and Saturday.
That's where all the
So
best shit happens.
yeah, I honestly kind of wish that they would do an episode that just took place on Sunday morning, and it's just them like pulling over people who are like driving home too fast from Sunday school, you know,
The
like ASMR
officers
on
just
Patrol Live.
go to church. They just attend the service.
I guarantee you a ton of those cops probably go to church because they certainly act like churchgoers, you know? Like it's crazy how these people who deal with violence and like drug abuse and you know like sometimes heinous crimes but also just like a lot of gross shit. It's crazy how like high and mighty they are. Like they act like they're so above it.
The
But
children of God. Can you say the same?
oh shit. that's deep.
Have you reserved your place in God's heaven?
I feel like it was probably with the guidance of an angel that we were able to beat 50 Cent Blood on the Sand. So I think God's looking out for me. I think.
through the pure determination founded by the loud pack that we were on.
Yeah, you came to our dispensary and you were
The straight goop we were
extremely
smoking.
dissatisfied.
No, actually, yeah, it wasn't really that loud. It was pretty mid.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
the
Arizona's
shit I
still
bought
getting
from
its
them
weed together.
in fucking April of March of 2024. They packaged that shit like a year ago.
Yeah.
It was year old Kush, man.
Old
the
weed,
leaf was
old.
dry. It wasn't anything to write home about. And I came up here and I went to my dispensary. I got shit packaged like a week ago. Okay, got the In and Loud. All right, put a picture of the In and Out blunts that I have on screen. I'll send you them. All right, I'm chiefing on that shit. It's infused and dipped, and I'm blowing straight clouds over here. All right, they thought I was planning on B because my smoke is so thick.
That's a good idea for a Patreon tier. We can try and do a 30-minute podcast episode while playing a CS match and see if we can go without rage quitting. Oh,
try to keep conversation while I'm trying to like clutch a 1v5 and lose horribly, and I go fuck.
And then we could have both of our game audios overlapped on top of each other at like 1 decibel, like really really quiet in the background. Oh lordy. But speaking of the background, I think it's time for us to fade back into the background because our time is up.
I think the archangels are calling my name.
Calling your
I
name
think it's my time.
Calling your name to show up to the THQ Nordis offices armed with a Colt 1911, demanding that they make a new 50 Cent game.
The demons are calling, and it tells me to buy a gun as soon as possible.
Imagine being a fucking herald of God, but he just uses you to try and get a new 50 Cent game made. He can
God
speak directly
really
to
liked.
you.
He really liked Bulletproof, and he sadly won't make another one.
Yeah, he liked Bulletproof. He felt that they missed the mark on Blood on the Sand, and so he wants them to make one where 50 Cent's in Chicago fighting aliens.
Didn't we workshop that out?
I
don't remember any of the details.
I remember some of it. I think it was about Outcast though. I think we wanted to make a Blood on the Sand style game for Outcast where you can play as Big Boy and Andre 3000, and you're in like some like big metropolitan city, and a bounty's put out on Outcast's head, and then it turns out that the bounty goes out so wide that like aliens want in on it. So the third act of the game is you fighting aliens, and then like you blow up their mothership at the very end, and then Big Boy and Andre land, and they're like, "All right, time to go home," and they just walk to their house.
I thought it was Nazis. I thought.
Oh yeah, you're right. It was. Yeah, the
Fourth Reich was brewing under the scene.
I remember. Yeah. So what we said is that Andre 3000 gets like a new chain, and it turns out that it was Nazi gold, and So the postmodern Nazis, like the skinheads in the metropolitan cities, try and take it back from Andre and Big Boy, and then it turns out that because the Nazis were like all into like the occult shit, like they were looking at all, like Indiana Jones, like they were looking at the weird shit, trying to harness its power. Then aliens show up, and the aliens try and get the Nazi gold. It's a very, very good idea for a game. I hope that it gets to the point where Andre 3000 and Big Boy will do a reunion just for the sake of this game.
Yeah, that would be sick.
That would
I was thinking
sick.
that, like, I'm not sure who they'll be fighting it. Maybe like Mole People or something. But I thought Baby Keem and Kendrick could be like defending Compton from Mole People.
I like that idea.
That would go hard.
Yeah, they're trying to dig a big hole under Compton, and then they're gonna drop it to be subterranean. And they're basically going to turn Compton into the new modern Atlantis. It's going to be a sunken city owned by the Mole People.
And Kendrick is the last line of defense. He gets a horse and a big ass like single action army, and Baby Keem gets like a slightly smaller horse and a slightly smaller single action army.
He gets a donkey and he gets a derringer.
It's like the little, I forget what it's called in Men in Black, the really small gun that shoots really big explosives.
Oh yeah, it's Noisy Cricket. Come on,
he gets a Noisy Cricket.
I know. Yeah.
Yeah. That's why I called on you for it.
That's why we're such a good team, because you are able to tell the person at the Costco that I didn't get my drink because I'm too much of a little baby to do it, and then when you lean over in my ear and ask me what the name of Howard the Duck's arch enemy is, I lean back and I whisper, I go, Dr. Bong, it's Dr. Bong.
I say thank you.
And then you write that on your big college
calls.
quiz.
My comically large exam.
Speaking of comically large, this podcast is getting comically large. We have to leave right now.
It's shorter than the last one, bro.
A lot of things are shorter than the last one, but
that's true for your penis.
All right.
I'm gonna be in touch with PG Lang, but I gotta hit up THQ Nordic first, so I'm gonna get on that. Check the news in a couple hours. You'll see me.
All right. Yep.
Thanks for watching.
Soldier.
Thanks for watching.
Bye, guys. See you later.
Bye. Wait, email us. Wait, email us.
Please use our email to email us what you'd like to see on the Patreon. Also, use our email in order to get in touch with us. And if you send us an email that we have a reason to talk about on the show, then we will. And we'll talk about it. We'll answer it. We'll talk about it. We'll address it. We'll undress it. We'll redress it. We'll ship it off, and we'll collect the money.
We're talking import-export. And you motherfuckers don't know nothing about that, all right? I was posted up in fucking Los Santos every night importing and exporting, all right? You don't understand what that's like.
What was it? It was first aid and alcohol and coke and yeah. God damn.
Mm-hmm. Fancy cars.
We'll have to tell our import-export story on the next episode.
All right, thank you guys for watching.
Yeah, we gotta go. Take it easy, guys.
Bye. Here's the music. Hey, I remember syrup sandwiches and crime allowances, Vanessa.